I'm Jasmine. I'm an alcoholic. Well, thanks for having us. It's been a really great meeting. You guys are all super friendly. So I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for being so friendly. And thanks to my sponsor who asked me to do this. She's been a great sponsor for me, so I'm excited to hear her story again. If you're new to AA, welcome. AA is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, and I did not feel that way 7.5 years ago. When I came here, I was like, how did I end up in the dorkiest place on earth? I mean, honestly. At that time, I'm like a huge Saturday Night Live fan, and at that time, there was this character, Stuart Smalley. And he was always into like self-help, and I think he was like a member of like 8 different 12-step programs, and I used to just laugh and laugh. Little did I know I was probably identifying, and so, and then here I am, but yeah, it's been the greatest thing, and so I'll tell you, I got sober March 30th, 1996. Right before I turned 23. I didn't know I was getting sober. I didn't know that, I was going to stay sober. I didn't know I was an alcoholic. I knew that I was a junkie. I was doing speedballs, shooting up coke and heroin. And I really didn't think I was a drug addict. I just I just picked the wrong drug. And it was really, if anybody did heroin, they would get addicted. So really, it's not like I have a problem. It's just I just chose the wrong drug. And so, my life was totally falling apart. I was living with a junkie, and we pretty much ran out of money. We were getting evicted, so I moved in with my dad, who I wasn't close to at all. And he confronted me. He was like, "Are you on crack?" And I was totally offended because I've never done crack. And you know what? For some reason, I just told him the truth. And he took me to a doctor to get me off of, just to get me some pills to like kick. And I think they had mentioned NA, but I didn't hear it. Basically, I was given an ultimatum to go to rehab, and since I said yes, and since I knew I was going to rehab, I of course used again, and then I was strung out again. If you had asked me at the time, or if you had said to me, "You're an alcoholic," I would not have believed you at all. I would have said, "Okay, I admit that maybe I could be a drug addict," because I had done a lot of drugs up until then. But never crack, no. And never speed. I was not much of a person who wanted to check in, I wanted less of life, not more of it, you know what I mean? And so I never did like the speedier things. So I'll tell you what I used to be like. My dad tells me that when I was 3, I saw a midget and I worried that I would never grow tall. And so that was pretty much what I thought was my nature, was just a worrier, And then when I was around 8, this tragedy struck our family, and that really confirmed that, for me, I always had a sense of God, and but after that, I couldn't really make sense of the bad things that happen in this world, and pretty much that's when I separated myself from God, and it was like between me and him. I'm like, let's duke it out. And so life continued, and I felt, different, and I was different. And when I was in junior high, I discovered alcohol. And, like the promises say, like after we're in our ninth step, it says we'll know a new freedom and a new happiness. We'll, paraphrasing here, but we'll be interested in our fellows. And that's exactly what happened for me when I drank, I didn't regret the past, I didn't really remember the past, but that was in the beginning when I was like a happy drunk. But early on, I I had a party, I was drunk, I took off my top. Early on, I drank to get messed up. Like, I drank to get sloshed, and it took me a long time in sobriety to realize that I wasn't like, I used to think that I would drink that way because I wanted to, and it took me a long time in sobriety to realize that I was powerless. Like, that's how I drink, you know? And I so love that we read chapter 3, because I don't hear it enough in my meetings, and the thing that really helps me identify as an alcoholic is I cannot control and enjoy my drinking. If I'm enjoying it, I'm not controlling it. If I'm controlling it, I'm not enjoying it. The party is over when I'm controlling it. Because I said that to my sponsor a couple months ago. I'm like, haha, at the end of the night, I could quit. I could stop drinking. And then my AA sister was like, yeah, but were you enjoying it? And I'm like, oh, no. Then I must be an alcoholic still after 7 years of sobriety, you know? But, so I'll tell you, 10 minutes is a pretty short time to just explain or to tell you guys, like, the miracle of sobriety in my life. It took me, like, for you newcomers, it took me, like, 60 days. Well, after 30 days, I was like, AA is great. I'm going to go out, I'll be back, and then I'll do this thing. You know, that was like at 30 days. And then around 35 or something, I was like, well, I don't know if I can come back if I go out, you know. And so after 60 days, I really wanted this thing. And, you know, I hear this a lot in meetings, like, AA is not for those who need it, it's for those who want it. And then recently I heard it's not for those who need it or want it, it's for those who do it. And you know what, that's been my experience, because there's been times that I don't want to stay sober, or I feel like having a drink, or, you know, all that stuff, but I take the right actions, you know, and AA is, you know, like you guys say here, welcome home. It has been my home. I've always been looking for a spiritual way of life. I got my BA in philosophy. When I was out there, I couldn't find answers there. I dropped acid, couldn't find answers there. And alcohol really worked for me. Like I said, it was like I felt like everything that kept me separated from another person, like alcohol took that away, and that huge load I carried on my shoulders, it went away, and I just felt a true, like a freedom, a new freedom and a new happiness. But then it turned on me. I became like a depressive, angry, blackout drunk. And so early on, I got into trouble with my drinking early on because I couldn't control my behavior when I was drinking. And so what I would do is I would just quit drinking, but instead of what I do is I would do drugs to substitute it. And so I would go back and forth, drinking drugs, and I couldn't really find, you know, the same effect produced by alcohol. And finally I, you know, found heroin, and that's what brought me here. So I'll tell you, in these 7.5 years of sobriety, you know, I just didn't want to be sick anymore. I just wanted to, you know, stop selling all my CDs and my stuff, you know, that's all I wanted. And I have, you know, people would say this all the time, my life is beyond my wildest dreams, and I would just like be like, okay, you must have really lame dreams. Like, you know, I just did not believe them. I thought, like, you must be like deluding yourself to believe that your life, you know, like you have to be kidding yourself. But I have to tell you, my life right now is beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm not kidding myself. Let's see here. You know, everything good in my life, every good behavior, every life skill, every accomplishment that I have is a direct result of AA and the people in AA supporting me, or, you know, the people that I've attracted in my life because I've used AA principles, you know. So I think, you know what, I don't know if my time is up or what. Is it up? Because I could go on and on and on, but let me think. And another thing is for you new people, like a thing that blew my mind when I got sober is when I was in rehab, this this counselor, I don't know what I was complaining to him about, but I was like, I don't feel blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't care about your feelings, I care about your life. And I was so shocked. I'm like, there's a difference? Because I was so about my feelings, you know? And that's been a great thing for me is that I've always, like, that I've gotten involved in a home group, and I have a sponsor, and I work the steps. Basically, it's like my actions are what matters, you know, and it's gotten to the point in my sobriety where I've gotten into a rhythm with my actions. Basically I lost my train of thought, but if you're new, don't let your feelings stop you from taking the right actions, because it's the actions that will get you involved and will save your life and keep you sober and have a great life. Because if I acted on my feelings, I would not have the fantastic life I have today. So it's just been a really great ride. I never would have, I've been definitely overpaid in sobriety, and thank you for listening.